From WFRB TV Local 5, your local election headquarters, this is Newsmaker Sunday with your host, Tom Zalaski.
Good morning. Welcome to Newsmaker Sunday. I'm Tom Zalaski. There are several bills up for debate in Madison which have a direct impact on our lives here in Northeast Wisconsin. Some include moving the coal piles located on the west bank of the Fox River in Green Bay. Also, there's an effort to replace the 121-year-old Green Bay Correctional Institute in Alloway and renaming the Walnut Street Bridge after the late Packers great Bart Starr. And here to discuss these proposals and more, Republican Representative Dave Steffen. Thanks so much for joining us. You're a welcome guest back again with us.
Good morning, Tom.
Much
Thank
appreciated.
you.
Let us start with what's going on just down the street from us here. Those coal piles, moving them. Where do we stand on that? Because you've been behind this from the start.
From the start. So for about 4 years, I've been working on this project and been waiting for the stars to align, and finally they have. So for 50 years. The city of Green Bay, local leaders, the community has been trying to find a way to recapture that quarter mile of downtown riverfront and provide a better opportunity for the future. And we now have that opportunity. Now that WPS is closing down their coal-fired plant at the mouth of the bay, we have an opportunity to relocate that storage facility, that coal storage facility that exists on the Fox River, to that new site. And the best part about this entire project is also the port expansion that'll occur. We're talking about 220 acres of brand new port capacity for the city of Green Bay. To put that into some context, that'll be the largest port expansion project in more than 2 generations on the entire Great Lakes. There is nothing of this capacity that has happened in that long. And so it's an amazing opportunity for the port operators, and it's a great opportunity for the residents and taxpayers of the city of Green Bay.
So at this point, do we have any obstacles yet, or is it full steam ahead now?
We still have obstacles. I tell you what, it never surprised me how many obstacles can be thrown in the way. We've successfully got the legislation through the state assembly. The state senate has yet to approve it, still working on a few more votes there. What I'm trying to do is get a little bit of starter money from the Harbor Assistance Grant Program. It's money that's already in the budget. Right. It's not new money. To kind of get this jump started, because the cost of this project, because of the amount of land, we're talking about 220 acres for that port expansion piece, is so large, it's so vast that to get some starter money is really important, and that's where the state can play an important role.
What kind of money are we talking here?
It's big bucks. Yeah. Let's be clear here that the entire port expansion project will probably be in the $20 to $30 million range, that much. But there's a lot of federal grants that relate directly to ports, which is great. So these port projects generally will produce between 500 and 1,000 new jobs, as well as provide additional capacity and new opportunities for economic development. And that's the great part, is whenever we have an opportunity to expand the pie, expand the economy of our community, that means that everyone's piece that they have to pay through their taxes is less. And so this is why I'm so excited about it, and I've been a leader on it since the beginning.
So you're thinking, even though it is big bucks, as you say, it's going to pay off in the long run?
It will pay off 100-fold. This will be so transformative between the port expansion and the downtown. Let's be clear, that property where the coal pile is being stored right now, right off of Mason Street, is worth almost nothing right now. Every acre of that 40 acres is worth over $1 million just as vacant land. So once we put on $150 million development on there, the benefit to the taxpayers, the benefit to the Broadway area, the benefit to the Green Bay community is really, really worth it.
All right, another issue you have been on from day one, the replacing of the Green Bay Correctional Institution. Your best argument in favor of doing that?
So when I became an elected official and started researching the people and places that are within it, I started hearing stories about GBCI and wanted to learn more. And when I started discovering some of the facts that relate to GBCI, I knew that there was a necessity to address this issue. The data and documents that I uncovered that show that GBCI is the most dangerous prison in the state of Wisconsin, has the highest turnover rate for staff, prisoner on inmate assaults is at the very top, security lockdowns at the top, and one of the biggest things is the structure itself. The structure itself, and I found this in a document that people had long thought didn't exist, it showed that there's over $200 million of repairs that are needed at that building. $200 million. at a 121-year-old facility. So instead of dropping and pushing all this money into that money pit of a hellhole of a prison in Alloway, we can build a larger, better prison in another location. We can save the taxpayers money, be safer for the workers, and oh, by the way, we can start incorporating better services for those inmates. Right now, there's over a 2-year waiting list for some of the services that exist at GBCI. I want to make sure that those inmates are getting them, because 90% of those inmates at that maximum security facility will eventually be back in our community. So I want them to have the best services so that they're the best people when they come out.
Now, this idea actually started under Scott Walker's administration. Now we have a Tony Evers administration. He's not a big fan of it.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to happen as long as we have Governor Tony
Man,
Evers?
it's going to be tough. I am an optimist through and through, but I tell you what, I provided him along through legislation that went through Joint Finance Committee. I gave him the money, the path, everything he needed to just say yes. I didn't even put parameters on to the size of the facility, even where it's located, how it was designed, any of those things. I said, please, Governor, just come with me. Let's provide a better service for those inmates. Let's save the taxpayers $150 million. Please join me. And he vetoed it. So I don't know what else I can do beyond that. I thought I was trying to work in a bipartisan fashion. It just didn't happen. I'm going to stay on this. This is so important to the state and, oh, by the way, to the village of Alloway, which is in dire need of some economic development opportunities itself. So I'm not going away, and this issue isn't going away, and so we'll continue to work on it.
What does the governor say to you? Why he doesn't want it?
Well, unfortunately, he's taking the position that we almost shouldn't have any prisons. Now, I would love to live in a world where we didn't need prisons. But the reality is we do have murderers, we do have rapists, we do have pedophiles, we do have drug lords. And those are the type of people that are at GBCI. That is a maximum security facility. The worst of the worst within our state are in that facility. It's the reason why we lock our doors, is what is inside GBCI. So just letting them out isn't an option. I think it's a little idealistic. I'd like to try to work some ways with him to try to get lower level offenders out of the prison system, but that's not the people at GBCI. We may be at a political impasse here. I'm going to stick at it. I'm going to hope that there's a way forward with him. If not, I'm hoping to still be around in this capacity to help provide this great opportunity for our community and save the taxpayers of Wisconsin $150 million.
And as you say, it'll be a big economic boon to Alloway. What are you hearing? What's the progress so far about where a new prison would go if it ever were to be passed?
So that's a really interesting thing. I was really surprised at the number of communities who are actually interested in hosting it.
Yeah, some people say not in my backyard, and others say bring it on.
It is, isn't that something? You know, the reality is that they're a self-contained city, and that has some value and some attraction for some communities. Some look at it as, okay, so this means that those 300 workers who are there, they're going to need to have restaurants, they're going to need housing, they're going to need roads, they're going to need schools, and they want that in their community. So certainly Kewaunee County was showing some interest. Kewaunee has had a lot of issues with its agricultural land, and they looked at it as an opportunity to transition from cows to convicts for their economy. Okay, let's do it. And so that provided an opportunity there. So I think there wouldn't have been as many issues as other places in terms of finding a new home for a new facility. So everything was pointing towards this, everyone winning with this. So that's why I'm not giving up on this. It's just too good of an opportunity for the taxpayers. It's good for the inmates, good for the workers, good for Alloway, which would have $100 million worth of economic development opportunity on that land. So I'm going to stick with this until it's done.
This may be cart before the horse. What would you see going on that piece of property if the prison were not there?
This is probably the most exciting piece, okay? It happens to be in the village of Alloway. They have a world-renowned architect who happened to retire in the village of Alloway. So this gentleman, his name is David Robillard, put together what most people probably have to pay $250,000 for, is a rendering, a next generation, a new life for that opportunity. And it is fantastic because it respects and preserves the history of the primary facility that everyone knows and sees, but yet incorporates some mixed-use housing, a distillery, an amphitheater, maintaining those beautiful trees in the front. And so that entire project, St. Norbert's did an economic impact study on it. Over $100 million economic impact and 1,000 jobs in the village of Alloway. For a community that needs $30 million worth of roads repaired, this would be a godsend.
One more issue
Yeah.
of note in this town anyway, renaming the Walnut Street Bridge in honor of Bart Starr. This seems like a no-brainer. But in today's political climate down in Madison, it may be not a no-brainer.
Well, common sense isn't that common down in Madison. I gotta be straight with you there. So, absolutely. When it comes to renaming it, sports stars certainly always come to mind when it comes to some of our landmarks. But beyond that, Bart Starr was one of the greatest humanitarians, community leaders for our community, and so I can think of no one more fitting to name than him. His role with the boys and Rawhide Boys Ranch. I'm going to tell a very quick story. So I worked with the Green Bay Packers on Lambeau Field redevelopment. As a part of that, I contacted alumni to say, would you be willing to come and just show your support for this project? If you remember back in 2000. Contacted every single one of them. We're talking hundreds. The very first phone call I got back was from Bart Starr, and he said, I'll be there when you want me. Tell me what you want me to do. And that's the type of guy he was. He was always willing to give back to the city of Green Bay. This is a very small way for us to give back to him and his legacy.
And you would think if we have Mike McCarthy way, if we have Reggie White.
That's right.
It would seem only fitting.
Yes. Bart Starr Bridge, maybe Tom Zalaski Bridge someday. We'll see. We'll start with Bart Starr Bridge. How's that? We'll start with that one?
We're a long way off. We continue on with Representative David Steffen right after this, so please stay with us.